So hello and welcome to my new channel. I'm Scott and this is my 1984 110 counter station wagon. I'm going to be doing a full camper build in the back. I've done a couple in the past. I think this one's going to turn out quite good. This is my first time ever doing YouTube. I've put it off for years, so be gentle. I'll start off with just quickly showing you around the vehicle, a little bit in the back, and let's go from there. So here it is, in all its brown glory. So I bought this off Facebook Marketplace in February. It was one of the cheapest ones going, surprisingly. I'll put some photos up of what it looked like when I actually went and got it. It was in quite a sorry state. It barely ran, barely moved, barely pulled off. The transfer box had imploded, so it was only rear wheel drive. It was in quite a bad sorry state. I slowly went through it all, got it all back on the road again. Probably been nearly 6 months it's been on the road now. I'm only just starting on some of the bodywork. So you can see this is the original brown, the Rome brown. So this is what it's going to end up looking like at the end. So all of the multi layers of paint are all going to end up getting stripped back slowly. I think I counted about 7 layers of paint on this wing. To this original paint, polished up, and then the stickers put back on. Any panels that are wrong like this is going to go back to the original cream, and the roof, so it's going to be a nice bit of patina with a bit of a modern twist. I'm going to have these speed holes somebody put in. I think this is probably due to the old 2.5 naturally aspirated that would have been in it originally. So I'm going to get them TIG welded up. I'll leave a raw finish on it because all the bonnet's all going to go back to that original looking paint. You can just about see brown under here. So I think it's going to look quite good once I'm finished with it all. So the story of it is, it originally brought new in 1984 and it was delivered to Mumfords of Exeter. From there I think it went to a farm near Chumley in Devon, and then it went to a company called Turner's Tours. This is a coach company, again down in Devon, and that's where a lot of all the original features, I believe, disappeared. Luckily it kept its windows. I'm pretty sure this is where the brown was sanded back, then a green, you might just be able to make out here. The green was put on everything, and I mean everything, and I think they got bored of the green, and then they went to this dark metallic brown, and then had a goldy coloured roof to kind of match their company colours. And then I think on top of that they went to a brown again, I'm not sure. I'll throw some pictures up of the company, and you'll probably see the old coaches with the same colours, and you might recognise the number plate, as apparently this number plate was the owner's first coach he bought, so they kept the number plate. Unfortunately, it's been so long on it now, I don't think I'll be able to get it off. I think it's going to be an absolute pain, so it's part of the history, it can stay. So currently in it is a Defender 200 TDI. I'll go through a full walkthrough another day of absolutely everything. But the engine had an issue with the high pressure fuel pump, so that was reconditioned along with all the injectors. Everything went through on the engine, new clutch, and another transfer box in it. The chassis was absolutely gone, like it was bad. There was nothing really left of the original chassis up to about this point. All of this was just no. It was just not cost effective to fix it, or safe enough to. So this chassis is actually off a 2014 Puma, and it fits really well, other than a couple of little bits like engine mounts that were just chopped and changed over. A lot of the original holes, Land Rover never took off their chassis, so a lot of it was literally just transfer straight across. I have got a 90 that there's going to be some work being done to, not my own, that's going to have near enough the same chassis change, so I'll probably document that, as that might be interesting to people who don't want to spend thousands on a Marsland chassis. So yeah, there we go. So nicely it kept its original windows, even though they do drive you mad going down the road. I think that's what's left of the door guard. There's not much left of the rest, unfortunately, and you cannot get these anymore. They only did these for a couple of years, and I think they changed them amongst them years. So you can see the original decals that gone on. I'll put a picture of what this would have looked like when it was delivered new. Slightly different. The seats here, the originals were too far gone. They're actually covered in a bus seat fabric, and they just weren't repairable. You couldn't get the retrim kits to fit them. So what I've done is got TD5 front seats here, and then retrimmed them with the Exmoor trim kits, and then kept these original runners because of the bolt fixings on these earlier ones, and then changed it over here on these fittings. So this is TD5 and this is early runner. All of this has all been sound deadened in the front. It makes a hell of a difference. Like, you don't have to put it fully on every single bit. You can just do small little patches, variously all over the panels, and it would deaden it. But I find what's really well with Defenders is because there's so many holes and water leaks. If you go around and you seal and do a full job on all of it, it really nicely seals all the floor up. Like, if you still need to take the floor pan up, you can still just run a knife around the edge, just peel it back where the screws are and lift the panel up. It's not the end of the world, but it makes a massive difference. So this is going to be done all over. I've not finished it yet. This hasn't even been started yet. That's just literally from the original. And then this is once it's been deadened and got one layer of foam on. So it does make quite a bit of difference. I've already got one panel in. I've documented all of this, but I'm only just doing the intro now because originally I weren't really planning to do a YouTube video. But here we go. But yeah, this panel's all in. What I'm using is 15mm birch ply. It's furniture grade. It's so much nicer than using your cheaper B&Q wood. Like, there's not big gaps in all the layers. You don't have big blown out cracks, and it's just so much of a nicer job when you do it with this wood. I've done probably 2 or 3 builds. I think it's 2 builds and a couple of small ones where it's just had units in. So I've kind of found what works and what doesn't work for me, and I find that's kind of the best setup. I've got my Eberspatcher heater put in. This is going to have some ducting running up here, and then there's going to be a vent that way and that way, and then all this wiring can get tidied up, and then the controller then can go on the unit as well, so then you can access it from the back when you're in bed. I'm going to have a fridge placed here, units coming across here, little one there, and probably some sort of a unit across the top. So you can see the previous people have put a checker plate floor in, so that's getting covered over, luckily, with sound deadening. And what I've found with sound deadening is as well, like, you have any of these holes like this or like this, it will seal all of them holes up. You've not got to go through and put filler over them or put little bits on them. This, when you heat it up and roller it in, it seals all the holes, and helps to waterproof it all. Same as like the ones in here. I've got to go through and put these all in next. It's definitely not going to be a quick project. So saying that, this isn't going to be a quick half hour of how to chuck ply in the back and call it a camper. I'm going to try and show every single step of the way, so you get an idea of how I've done it, of what I think works well. I just want to be properly inform you all how I've done it, because I've seen some other builds where they just go, oh, here's this panel that goes there, look how nice it looks. I want to do like this is why I've done it, this is my planning around it, this is what I found works for me, and I think that's a bit more useful. If people are watching this, I'm guessing they're thinking of doing it themselves, so they want to know what's going to work for them and what doesn't work. And so going on from that, if people are out there thinking about doing a build on their Defender, say, I'm guessing that's why you might be watching this, to get some ideas. My best advice is go camping as it is. Leave it as a standard van, leave it empty, take an airbed, take a little box with some camping stuff in, and use it for a weekend and see what you want and what you don't want, and what you think is going to work best for you, because everybody does stuff different. You might want to have a big pop roof, so then all your units will be different. Say like here you might want a flat worktop, so you can work on that when the pop roof's up. So there's so many variables. You might not want as big of a bed in the back if you're having a roof tent, because you're not really going to be sleeping in the back as much, so you can probably have more storage and kitchen area. So yeah, the best advice is just do your research, but go and try it first. You don't have to build all these fancy campers. Like literally just chuck some foam mattress in the bottom and a nice comfy sleeping bag and go use it. Right, so I have done some bits already, like you can see some of this insulation. I will show that later because I've still got some more to do. But let's jump straight into it, and I think we're going to be starting off getting this panel here sorted. That one. We're going to start off with that one and then go from there, because I haven't made a plan, as they always go wrong. So Yeah, let's see how much I can screw up, shall I? So this is the end panel for the footwell area that's going to be vertical. So I've got these little 90-degree brackets that need to go on to help anchor it to the floor upright. But I'm going to have to drill out one of the holes on each of the 5 to accept the rivet, because the holes aren't quite big enough, they're about 1mm out, so I'll just drill them out now and then mount them on this. So as you can see, I have all these on now. So I've got all these for this side, and that other one will be inside a cupboard, so it should stop it just moving for now while I get all the rest of the units in. Right, so this is where this is going to sit in. It's going to go up in this position, like this. I'm going to leave a bit of a gap here, so it's going to clear any of the door card or handle. So then this will be the basis where nearly everything else is going to go off. So we've got the height from this wood here. It's going to come across the halfway onto here. And then from this side on will be more cupboard area. Probably a long compartment underneath you can access from the doors for chairs and whatnot. So I'm going to need to mark all these out and get them all riveted in. And then I can start doing this big panel coming over the top. And then I can then do this panel that's going to come in along here. It's quite nice in here, I've got the heater going. About 3 degrees out, so a bit of a change. Right. So you can see that panel's all in now. I messed up on a couple of bits. That hole I put in the wrong place, but I just moved the bracket across. That's quite nice and sturdy. And now I can get the square in. And then I can tweak it across, and then I can get a measurement from halfway between this board to the edge of that there, and then I can get my length and then figure out then how far I want the bed to come out from this point here, and then I can get that top panel in. So the first bit applies in and it's all square. I've got my measurement from this batten here, that's where my edge is going to be here. So I've got a nice bit of a gap coming here for like if I have a gas strut on, if I have a table on the back, and this is going to be ply lined as well, so it's all going to need a bit of room in there. So I'm going to go to that nice little step. So I've got all that bit cut, but now I've got to try and cut it around the fuel filler neck and that support, and then shape it up to that edge of that wood there. And then once that panel's all the way into the back of that quarter panel here, probably like a, I don't know, centimetre gap here at the back, just to help it breathe a little bit, and help when I put a bit of insulation in the back, I can then get this panel cut from the leftover from that cut, so the ply should nicely match going round. And then I've got some, at the very end I have some spare pieces to do these end panel, and then I'll put little compartments in the top to access down in here, and I might do one there, or maybe just so you can tuck stuff in there, maybe, I'm not sure. By the time you put a door in the top, you won't really have much room in there, so we shall see. Need to get in there. Right, so the panel's the right length, luckily. I'm actually going to bring this back a little bit further and maybe put batten in, just so when I put these cupboards in, these little cupboards in, they'll all come to this nice edge all the way across, instead of having a weird little step. So I think that'll look a bit nicer. So I'm going to line it all up and then mark what I'm going to have to cut out around these places. I think these are going to be a bit of a pain, that one especially, because that one there is deeper than this, so I've got to work it in slowly. So I've just got all those routed out nicely. So we'll see how it fits one-handed. Well, that's not bad, is it? Just be squaring up a little bit. Yeah, there it is, second piece cut. I can now get all the heights sorted and box all this bit in. So I'm going to have a bit of a think about this next piece I'm going to cut in here and how I want these units, because I want the fridge to sit here because it's about the best place I could think for it to go. I did a van build and I had it here. Obviously didn't have the doors, so I'm not going to have this extra storage. But if I put the fridge down in here, then you're limited to putting stuff underneath again. And I've also lowered the height of this a little bit more, so it's not going to actually fit that well, and I want to be able to access it from the door and from when the bed's made, so that's kind of the best place I can think to put it. But the thing I'm trying to figure out is this panel coming across here. I want to flush them out to here like I did last time, so you get even more foot space in here, because if I space it out, as I've done previously on another one, I brought it out to about here. I find this space here, in this step, is completely useless, because everything falls into it, nothing can stack into it. Once your bed's been put across here, you don't have access to anything you want to put underneath. If you put full length doors in to access this bottom bit, then you can't open it with the bed made. So then my last build I did it flush, so you had more room, you had two big openings here, and then you didn't have that weird space, and the storage was fine really, and we lived in it for a month and it was fine. But with this build I thought of doing the same, but then if I'm putting the fridge here, it actually sticks out further than where this panel would be. And also it's got to kind of also come this way a little bit more. It's got to come into this panel more. It's going to be into this footwell area. So where the nice square of this is going to be, when this fridge comes back a bit, there's going to be like a weird little notch in this area here. So I think I'm going to have to space it out to make it look right and work right, because then I can put the panel out to about here, all the way across, and follow it all the way to the end of there. So then it has the one unit here and these here. And I think that'd be the neatest. If not, it's going to be a pain to build. I think it's not going to look right either. I didn't really want to do the space away, but I think I'm going to have to try and figure out a way to use that. Maybe have two separate compartments. I'm not sure yet. Maybe line the top of this so nothing falls down into it. Not sure. I don't think. Right, so I think I've decided I'm going to build it out. There's loads of pros and cons each way, but I think it's going to be better if I build this out. So I'm only going to bring it out 10 centimeters maximum, and then that will clear the latch to be able to reach the handle of the unit here, so you're not fumbling around in the night to try and open the rear door. I'm going to step it out same as this side, and probably start the unit here. So again, there's room, a little bit of room to get to the locks there, and you can get down the back if really needed. But then again, you should be able to get through there. I mean, there's a bit more access to get into this big locker. I might cover this with something, or maybe put some thin ply over, so it definitely separates the two. Just have the bottom lined in some waterproof, so I know coats or something can get jammed in this gap at the bottom. And then this unit will go all the way across to the end of the seat, so then that gives plenty of room for that fridge, because the worktop is going to be basically sitting on the top of this surface here, underneath this, or almost up against it. So there's going to be loads of room there, and I can then pack out underneath the fridge to get it to sit right. I can cut the corner off here maybe, so then the fridge it needs to come this way and up a little bit to clear the seat, because I want to be able to have the seat all the way back. Yeah, I think that's going to be the better way. And then with the worktop also only going to here, I see some people put it on here, but if that seal ever leaks in there, that, let's be frank, they always do, you've then got to strip everything out to get that side separated from the tub. So I'd rather just have the worktop resting on this. There's some brackets coming out for it to sit onto, so you can still, yeah, it's still going to be a pain, but you can really separate it. And then once this big long bit's in, I'll then figure out what I'm going to do with this roof section, because I want to put a cupboard like that sort of shape going all the way across. But then I don't want it too far that way, because of your head smacking the corner of it. And then I've got a window in the way, so I don't want to finish it halfway through the window, because that will just look really weird. So it might only be to that little section there, somewhere just to shovel your sleeping bag, that I found was really useful last time. And then I don't know, maybe a flat shelf or something, maybe something flat to the end of the window and down, or just straight across, I'm not sure yet. But I thought if I get this unit in first and get this nice flat worktop all the way across, I can then cut the access for the door to go up. I can then separately put my unit that I want to go up here, so then that ducting for the heater can come up this channel and then have it facing towards the window and into the cabin in the back, with access for the thermostat. It's currently just dangling. That can go up on here as well. And then the compartment here would be nice to put clothing in, like your socks and whatnot, to keep them warm. And then that panel will be blocked off in here, and there'll be a little secret compartment in here. So I think I just need to start doing it, and there's no going back then, is there? So I've got it all marked out now. So this is actually flip reverse, because you want to cut this ply upside down, so you have the nice cut line on your, like your show face, because the blade's coming through your show face and blowing out the back basically. But you've got to be careful how you mark all this stuff out, because it's so expensive per sheet. So I've worked out if I'm going to cut it, I'm best not to run it all the way down and just have this long piece and this little bit as a spare. I'm best to actually cut this bit off first, because then these bits can be used behind the seats as the top of the bed section, and it's near enough about perfect, maybe a centimetre off, so I can reuse this bit then. I won't be left with a weird little bit of wood at the end. So I'm going to run this one up first to shorten the panel down and put that back inside, and then run the length, and then I'm probably going to run this one to as close as I can, and this one, and then cut the rest by hand. Try and get that little corner out without trying to splinter or break it. Probably flipped over so I can see what I'm doing a bit better. And that one there is ready to sit in. And there we go, there's that piece cut. So up against this edge, and then I'll end up doing the same as what I'm going to do on this end panel, and put a panel, like an M panel on each. I think that's going to look really neat. And then obviously all the edges are going to be rounded off. The worktop's going to be on top of this. It should sit right against that back lip. Stepped up and over that. That gap should tighten up once it's all screwed together. But now I'm probably going to need to figure out the panel to space this out correct. I think probably that one. It's going to come in here. It's going to fix to this, come across, and then should nicely fit to this panel. And that should get a nice square. So this is nice and square, and that's nice and square. So what we've done first is space this out 10. So I've got the right gap here, and I'm going to try and get the height and location of the fridge, so I can kind of get this panel fixed in down here. So I'm going to cut. I'm going to leave a little bit more because you're not going to see it. So just in case, just for a bit of wiggle room, I'm going to cut it down here, and then I've lifted the fridge up to about here, and then mark the back side of it on the other side, so that I'll cut that step out here. And what that should do then is then give me a baseline for the bottom of the fridge base. So then from there I can then run a panel across to get the fridge height set up right. And then also I've measured up the angle, so the seat's currently pushed forwards a bit. I want to be able to have this seat back, so if I cut this back 6 centimeters and cut it at an angle, that should just allow a little bit of a taper on it to allow the seat to come back and not the sharp edge digging in. So there should be plenty of room then for this fridge to come back. So I've got to cut that angle, take all this back out, and cut that little notch in it. Right, so there's that panel. Got a nice little taper in it now to allow the seat to come back. I've actually remade this panel because I wasn't really happy with the finish of the ply on the face. I didn't really notice it. And then there's that cut out. I actually lowered the mark down 15mm to allow for the thickness of this ball in the bottom. So that's going to sit nice without the lid vibrating on the other lid that I did before. So I've learnt my lesson. I've just got this bit of wood back in so I can line that new ball all back up. So it's sitting quite nice now. So these first bits take a long while to do because everything's going to kind of base off these. So now I know my height of my bed, the depth of the bed, the height of my unit, how far it's coming out, how deep it is, where my fridge is going, how high it is. So now it's the point where I need to start making all the infill panels, and then I'm going to leave probably this cupboard and this top bit till last, I think, so I can figure out what I'm doing. So I've spaced this panel correct now, so I'm going to make this L-shaped panel that comes in just behind here. It's about here or something like that roughly. I'm not going to go all the way in. So I'm going to come to about here, make a nice L shaped, and then there's going to be a panel coming here. Because I want to get this spaced 10 centimeters down here and down there where the heater is. So then that sets this panel in at set distance from this one. So then once this is in and that's mounted, I can then move this top in or out each side to get this gap perfect down the centre. And then once that's in, that can get screwed down to them battens, and then this end panel can then be made to fit in. So there's a plan forming now. Right, so I'm going to get this bit done and cut, and then see if we've got enough time today to get that bit done as well. Right, and there's that piece we've just cut out, and then that is going to fit down in there. And then I've got that little shoulder now to mount a bit of wood on to seal this part up. So next I'm going to cut the one between that piece of brown metal there across the front of the heater to here. So that's going to be my next one. I'm going to drop it down into that gap so the spacing there is correct. Right, I've got all the other bit measured now. I've got it on my little bit of masking tape. So I found a bit of board, I flipped it over, and this corner here is the nicest, so I'll set you up and we'll mark it all out. So we'll start with 49 by 41. So I think because of the way that the wood is, let's do the minimum that way. So let's do 41. 41 this way. So 41, 49. .41 by 49. Right, now I need to get my shape in here. So let's have a think. So we're going to want the 10 by 22. So that we'll put that in this corner. So let's mark it. Let's mark it after I've cut this square out. Let's make it easy. Well, you can probably guess by now it's not it's not a quick thing to do, is it? You could just go down to B&Q and get some cheap ply. Let's throw it all together. But it just doesn't last. And you end up doing it 200 times. Right, let's use the other 20. And you don't need a fancy kit. Like I'm using a piece of old skirting board as my straight edge. is a pain in the ass because if you tie it too much, it opens the gap up. Because they're not quite long enough. So both. There we go, so that's on. So I've got a 80-tooth blade from an Amazon special, and it cuts it so nicely. So we need something to support this. Let me try and find something to support this panel. Right. I've got you sketchily set up on the end of a sawhorse. Well, the one cut I can record. Well, that jam near the end. The one I record goes wrong, doesn't it? That's the bit sketchy. Ever so. Can you see why I've done a time lapse? All of them so far. These shorter bits are a bit more awkward. Right, where's my tape? I'll screw it up, probably. Yes. Right, so we had the 49 by. Right, there's the 49. There's the 41. So we're getting rid of this piece. So we're keeping this, getting rid of that. And I screwed it up again. So we need to know which one's which, we need to know which side of the line to put on. Set that one up. Put it on the other way. Let's line this up across here. Help with having a nice straight edge for us to go against. It's a little crowd, but I think it should be fine. See if we can jam it this time. Half the time is looking at stuff. See, because you've got to remember as well, you're doing this in reverse, because that is our finished surface. So we've got the 49 high. Setting that gap. Right, there we go. That's all we need, is that panel is going to sit the wrong way around, because I've marked it back to front. But I need it this side, don't I? Oh my god. Oh. It's alright, I was being an idiot. I just put the line in. So instead of that bit, all of that's going to come out instead. That is what's setting the gap, like I said. I'm not cutting this water now. Like I even marked it right originally. This piece is coming out. That piece is coming out. That bit's staying. So I'm going to freehand this bit. So we'll clamp it down to this bit maybe. Give way, it'll snap off. Again, right. So let's flip. And now we've got to cut this little piece out here. But we don't want to cut it from the other way, or it's going to blow this face out again. Standing in the way. Try not to drag the saw backwards towards the face. Piece to sit in with a nice face. Right, so here it is. Let's see if it's going to fit. Hopefully. So I'm just going to shave the top of that off. See, because the problem is I've got, unless I space it out, there's a ridge here from where this bracket plate comes down and fixes on, and then also this little kick out down here, but it should be about right. Once it's in, scooted all the way to that face, so I just need to shave the top corner off on there, maybe the bottom a little bit, but we'll work it from here. So I've set it back up for the router. Just set this bit of wood here. So I'm only taking about half a little bit off. It's not going to be precise. You're not even going to see it. So put it over there. Kind of strapped to the table. So I've got a new bit because it's actually burning it a little bit now. Right, so there was that side. So I was losing the will to live yesterday cutting this panel. It was getting darker and I had to shave loads off, top and bottom. And the light was going, then I realised I didn't cut enough off that edge and I just gave up. So that's going to be it for this episode. It's getting a bit long now and it's getting dark, so and we're kind of at a good stopping point. So next episode, cutting the hatches into this panel and this bed panel here for the doors, and then starting to secure all these bits on here and all the spaces, and this bit here to here, round all the edges off so we can start getting stuff mounted in. So that should be quite an interesting one and it should really start coming together then. So thanks for watching.